Welcome to another video from Inking on the Fly. My name is Amy Jasper. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada, and today I have a video that shares a way that you can use your layering circle dies from Stampin' Up! In kind of a fun, playful way. I hope you enjoyed the video, and just make sure you click on the thumbs up button if you do. So we're going to be featuring the Colorful Seasons stamp set from Stampin' Up! The Layering Circles Framelits, as well as the Seasonal Layers Thinlits. So those are all the Big Shot materials that we need, including our Big Shot, of course, because can't use these without a die cutting machine. Okay, let me show you the card that I did before, because you have seen it. If you follow me on Facebook, you would have seen it posted on Facebook. So this is using the So Hoppy Together stamp, which is no longer available, sad face, because it was a celebration stamp set. So if you were lucky enough to to get it for free with a purchase, then you can create this card as well using this stamp. I think it goes really well with this card design. So for this card, I have Pacific Point as my card base. I have Coastal Cabana in the background here, Flirty Flamingo, Mango Melody, I believe. Mango Melody? Yes. And Pineapple Punch and Lemon Lime Twist, which sadly will be retiring at the end of May. So don't miss out on that one. I love Lemon Lime Twist. And then I've stamped You Can Do Anything in the Rich Raspberry ink. This little guy I colored using the blends markers. I used the Granny Apple Green light and dark blends, and I used the Smoky Slate light and dark blends markers. But I also added a little bit of the watercolor pencils. So I used white watercolor pencil to brighten up his eyes, and I used a little bit of white on the tire, and I used a bit of the black on the tire and bits and pieces here and for the shadow, just so I could blend it out a little bit. Because it's watercolor watercolor pencils, it means you can blend them out a little bit and get a little more shading. The blends are more for a good solid coloring with an even coloring. So that's what I started with, and for the showing you how I did this today, I wanted to do a new card with products that are available now from Stampin' Up. So I'm going to set this aside. And for the card today, we are going to start with some different colors. I have Lemon Lime Twist for my base. I still have the Coastal Cabana because I love it. It's just so bright and cheerful. And I think that's one of the reasons I really like these cards, is because they're bright and cheerful colors. You could absolutely do this technique with any color combination that you choose. I just really like the bright colors. And then we've got a little bit of Sahara Sand to throw into the mix, and then our circles that I have pre-cut because it takes a bit of time to cut all these. So I have Calypso Coral, Grapefruit Grove, Mango Melody, and Pineapple Punch. A nice bright array of happy colors for this card. Now, how did I cut those? So again, with the circles, the Layering Circles die, gotta get the name right, you know, it's important. And then I have this Post-it tape that I got just at Staples. Sometimes I use washi tape, but I don't really want to waste my washi tape for something that I'm not going to keep. I want to use my washi tape for decoration. So this is Post-it note tape. It's great because it does not stay stuck to things because it's Post-it adhesive, right? So I arranged my framelits all together, and then I can lay the Post-it tape over top like that. And then when I use my Big Shot, I have the whole thing here, but you don't need to see the whole thing. You just need the layers. So when I use my Big Shot, I just put all those pieces together on a piece of paper, and I oddly do not have a piece of paper handy. No, I'll use this. I'm not going to cut it, just using it as an example. So then I can just lay that over top of my paper, have it sandwiched, run it through the Big Shot, and then when I am done, I can pop out all of those. Those now will be individual cut circles like these ones. So pretty easy. You can do this with any stacking die like this. So it just opens up so many options, and it's awesome, and I hope that you will try it for yourself. Okay, so that's what I did. And now I'm going to show you a card that I made this morning that will show off another card with a similar layout to the So Hoppy Together stamp set that I used. Okay, so this card, like I said, has these parts here, and I'll tell you my dimensions. So this is 3.5 by 4 3/4 in the Coastal Cabana. I pre-cut, obviously, the largest circle. This one here is just 1/16 bigger on all sides. So just to have a little bit of a edge, that thin edge. I just really like just a thin mat around things. Some people like a wider mat. It's just personal preference. So I'm going to glue my pre-cut Coastal Cabana. This wasn't in color back in the day, and I was so glad that they brought it back to be a permanent part of the colors with Stampin' Up, because I love this color. The other one I really like is called, what is it called? I'm not going to remember it now. Cool Caribbean is the other one. I really like that one too, but we don't have it anymore. Very sad. Okay, so you can see it has that nice edge, which I really like. So then it's a matter of layering all of these circles, and I'm using the Tombow liquid glue because I just feel like I have a lot of control with it. It is a bit mucky on the end, I see, but it'll just have to do. So normally I could pick off that gross dried on bits with a paper towel or tissue or something. So I'm going to just use the liquid glue in a circle and glue each section together. And by doing this, so the difference between this technique and just layering over top is that this allows me to have less bulk and less weight on my cards, which is nice when you're mailing them. It's nice to have less bulk and less weight. So now the Groovy Guava. Groovy Guava, there's an old one. Not Groovy Guava. This is not Groovy Guava. This is that other color that I can't remember the name of. Grapefruit Grove. Thankfully, I wrote them down this time, not like last time. Last time was embarrassing. But I recovered. You know, it's good to not be all together all the time. It's just too hard. It's just too stressful to try to be all together all the time. So once in a while, I rebel, although not on purpose. Okay, and then pineapple punch in the middle. Oops, oh, that's not good. Don't do that. Okay, so see, it's not a lot of bulk and it's nice and tidy. I like tidy, as we have discussed before. Okay, I'm still going to use that glue. Not quite yet. Maybe we'll put it away for now so it doesn't dry out. Okay, so then I want to add a little bit of Sahara sand. It's going to sit down here and make this sort of look like a little bit of a sunrise or a sunset, perhaps. Either way, awesomeness. I am going to stamp. The stamp is Just Breathe, and that's part of the Colorful Seasons stamp set. Just Breathe. You can see that this is way bigger than the picture. They have so many stamps in this set that they had to make the pictures smaller on the cover than they actually are. So all of the images are much bigger in reality than the picture shows. Okay, so I'm using my embossing buddy because we're going to heat emboss some white embossing powder using this Just Breathe. And because it's a photopolymer, I am also going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to put it underneath my paper. And again, the reason we use the Stampin' Pierce mat is because the photopolymer stamps don't have any kind of foam backing on them. So to get a really crisp, clear image, using the foam underneath your paper will make that image more, I don't know, more certain. It'll do what you want it to do, for goodness sakes. A more even pressure. Okay, so we're using Versamark ink. And I'm stamping this Just Breathe. I find this one a little bit challenging because of the beautiful script that it's in. It's just a little challenging to get straight. So I'm going to use my grid paper to guide me and hope for the best. Pressing firmly. Hey, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then we'll use some white embossing powder. And again, I've got it in my Tupperware container. These little Tupperware containers are pretty awesome. I don't have a Tupperware consultant at the moment. My Tupperware consultant retired from Tupperware. Moved on to 31 Gifts, actually. So the embossing buddy is supposed to prevent the little bits from sticking to the edges. Sometimes, if there's oils on your paper, those ones are a little harder to avoid, but it definitely helps using the embossing buddy. And if there's static on your paper, then the embossing buddy is definitely going to fix that so that your powder doesn't stick where you don't want it to stick. Okay, so then I don't need the mat anymore. I'm going to take that out. And then I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm going to heat set my embossing powder. Pardon the noise. Look at that. It just looks so fresh when you have white words on a surface. I just love that. Now, I was just thinking, and I'm going to look in my catalog because, whoops, past it. Wouldn't this, so that's, whoops, that's going to be like that, right? But what do you think? Wouldn't it, I wonder what it would look like if I had the Pineapple Punch embossing powder. I think that could look really cool. This set of embossing powders has where are they? Blueberry Bushel, Call Me Clover, Grapefruit Grove, Lovely Lipstick, and Pineapple Punch. So Grapefruit Grove and Lovely Lipstick both would look really neat with this card, I think. And of course you can also get the other colors. So black, clear, copper, gold, silver, and white are also available from Stampin' Up. I use the white a lot, just because you can, you can use it on any color, even on white, but you can use black. Well, you can use any of them on any color. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is it just makes the letters pop using the lighter color on darker cardstock. I quite like that combination. And you can't do that with ink. Not well. We do have craft white ink, and that allows you to put some white to stamp with white ink on dark cardstock, but it doesn't pop quite as much as the embossing powder does. Okay, so that's that. The next phase will be to add the Adirondack chair. So that's from the Seasonal Layers Thinlits dies. So this one here. So you run that through your Big Shot with your paper of choice. And I did it in advance for you guys. I chose to use a sheet of the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. So that gives my Adirondack chair an actual wood coloring, which I think is cool. I don't know about you. So that's die cut, but first, I almost forgot, I want to add some linen thread. So I have my linen thread here. It now comes on a roll actually instead of on this paper slab. It comes on like a spool now. Okay, so I am going to attach. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay, I'm going to attach my linen thread. I'm going to wrap it around a couple times. Let's do three times. I always leave it attached to my spool or whatever it's on because I feel like I waste a lot less, and that makes me happy. I don't want to have little bits of ribbon everywhere. I want to have as much as possible to use in the future. So a lot of times if you pre-cut it, you cut it too short and then you waste that whole section, or you cut it too long and then you end up with you know, little excess pieces left over. So this way I'm not going to have anything left over in this case, although I can't seem to tie this tight. Let's try that one more time. I got to use my one finger down on the knot to hold it tight while I tie the bow. There we go. All right. Fiddling with the bow is what I do. Not everybody is very fiddly. I am very fiddly when it comes to my bows. Okay, cutting off my end with my paper snips. I am liking how it's looking. Are you liking how it's looking? If you like how it's looking and you're on Facebook Live with me right now, which I don't think I have anybody on right now. You know what? I started late and that probably didn't help, but that's okay because you're going to watch it later. So if you're watching later and you're on Facebook, you can click on the heart button if you see where this is going and you like what you're seeing. If you are on YouTube and watching this later, because this will go on YouTube later, then you can just click on that thumbs up button and, you know, give me a little bit of encouragement. Let me know you like what you see. Okay, you see what I'm doing? Pretty fun. I'm liking it. Okay, I'm going to attach my Adirondack chair. There are a couple ways to do this. Stampin' Up! Actually has die cut sheets, and I could have cut it with a die cut sheet attached to my paper already and then run it through the Big Shot. Then I would just have to peel off the backing and stick it down. I am actually a very lazy stamper. Some of you won't be surprised at that. So taking that extra step is just too much for me. So instead, I'm very carefully applying my Tombow liquid glue in dots. Now, some people find that it helps to use a toothpick to apply. Then you don't get an accidental, you know, barfing of this stuff, because sometimes an air bubble gets in here and then it barfs, and that's a big mess because, as I've said before, when this dries, it dries tacky. So if it doesn't have any paper in between, then it'll be tacky forever, and that's just annoying and collects dirt and dust and all sorts of things. Okay, so I've got my glue on the back, and then I'm going to attach this guy right about there, making sure he's straight. You know what I'd really like to do with him? Why is it a boy? I don't know. What I would have liked to do is pop him up with dimensionals, but because the spaces are so small, that would just have been a big nightmare. So I'm not doing that. Now, Stampin' Up! Ever came up with adhesive backed foam to attach to your paper before running it through the Big Shot, and if it actually could function that way, I would be all over that, because that would be awesome. Okay, look at that. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, the last step is to dimensional this onto my card base. So I'm going to use my dimensionals. These are the regular size dimensionals, because if I use regular size dimensionals, there's less backs to peel off. And because I have so many layers, I think that the large ones will do the job quite nicely. And by that, I mean when you have a thin piece of paper, like say designer series paper, because it's a thinner paper, if you use dimensionals, you're going to end up with some sagging. The paper will sag over time, just moisture in the air and gravity. So then I would use more dimensionals, or I would add more layers to make it have a little more shape. But I have lots of layers, so in this case, I'm not too worried about it. Although I still put on 6, so I guess I'm worried enough. I like to be thorough. Where's my... So I always pre-score, I always pre-score my card bases using my Simply Scored tool. I don't often show that one because it's so big, that tool. So I kind of skip that step with you guys. Okay, so then our last step is to attach this on here. And it is so bright and so cheerful, and just, doesn't it make you smile? This one makes me smile. Really, it does. I mean, this guy does too. They both do. They're just happy. It's just happy cards. Like if you got one of these cards, I think that you would smile. You just can't help yourself. I know it's true. So if you like any of these products, my friends, then you are welcome to go to my blog, inkingonthefly.com, and see what's there, and maybe you'll find something that you like and something that you would want to order from me if you're in Canada. If you're not in Canada, there are lots of demonstrators throughout the world, so I'm sure you'll be able to find someone who will be more than happy to help you. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing how you could use circle framelits, the Layering Circles Framelits dies, to make some really neat backgrounds on your cards. Also, I wanted to say too, now where did I put them here? Because I've been doing a lot of these cards, look at this. I have all of these. Look at how fun they are, all these colors. I have all of these circles that I have not used yet because these ones I had a certain pattern of color that I wanted to follow, right? So then I ended up with all of these. So now my challenge to myself is to figure out what to do with all these. I have some ideas. So I could either do more cards like this, or I could do maybe something different. So I think I'm going to do something different. I will share it with you when I come up with whatever it is. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like some of the other things that I have to offer on my blog, inkingonthefly.com. Go on over there after this and check it out. But before you go, make sure you click on that subscribe button.